Scrie rec?
Da.
Da.
Let's go.
The camera is on. I will shut the door. So, hello everybody. English is the language today. It's my pleasure to introduce Steffen Pötzschke from GESIS Roadshow because you tell everything about this very fun and he's so kind to come here and to help Bucharest in the GESIS Roadshow. He's on the way. He's like a big rock star right now. So I can control.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, welcome also from my side. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy and honored to be here. Of course, I'm not here for myself, but as representative of the GESIS panel team and to some extent as a representative of GESIS itself. So maybe before I start telling you about the GESIS panel, I just want to give a small description of GESIS itself. So I'm not working at a university, we are not a university. We are an infrastructure institute for the social science in Germany. So we are scientists, we are working in science, and we are financed by the German state, but basically we don't have to teach. That is the difference. And we offer to the social science profession a number of services. We host the GESIS archive, for example, where researchers from all over the world can store their data. We do methodological consulting on survey projects, and we host the GESIS panel. And that's why I'm here today, and that is why you are here today, actually. So let's get right to it. This is the agenda for today. First of all, I want to give you an overview of our project because I think it's easier to understand and to value the methodological considerations and all that if you firstly know a bit about the GESIS panel. I'm going to go into the methods really quick in data collection, data access, and also in some new cross-cultural research opportunities we are still developing at the moment. And of course, after that, I'm happy to answer all your questions. So let's get right to it. At the GESIS panel, we have defined for ourselves 4 roles and thinking of different target groups at the time. So first of all, of course, we are an infrastructure for data collection. We offer this service really to researchers basically worldwide. You can submit your studies to us and we will field them in our panel. Of course, there is a review process and so on and so forth. I will go into details regarding that later on. So here we have 2 target groups in mind. We have panelists, obviously, we have 2 survey people, and primary researchers. The second role we see ourselves in is that of a data provider, because also you can access all the data we collect for free and you can use it in your own secondary analysis. Besides that, we are engaged in knowledge transfer, so we are happy to share our experiences in installing and establishing panel infrastructure, and of course we are engaged in methodological research. So just some basic characteristics. We are a probability-based access panel of individuals. Our sampling frame was the general German population, the German-speaking population in Germany, between 18 and 70 years of age. We recruited panelists from the population registers. We did about 7,600 face-to-face recruitment interviews in 2013 and about 4,900 individuals were in our starting sample in 2014. I'm going to go in all of this in more detail in a minute. The first 3 points on this slide are very important. So we are a mixed mode panel, a mixed mode survey. And that's actually something a lot of people get wrong a lot of time, and I can tell you there are even people in GESIS who still think that we are a web panel. We are not a pure web panel. We included an offline mode to reduce coverage problems and bias. So we have 2/3 roughly of our sample who participate online, and we have actually a bit more than 1/3 of panelists who participate offline. And those are not just people who do not have access to internet, but also people who choose not to participate via the internet. There are people who just like paper questionnaires more. We use a unified mode design. This means our questionnaire, our binaries, actually our items, are looking very much the same on paper as online. We collect data every 2 months.
Is that a question?
Yeah, sure.
So we collect data bi-monthly, and we correct the online sample with the web sample. How do you make it?
No, we are not in the sampling. I mean, we have an offline sample to correct for a bias.
Yeah.
So actually, we do not do any weighting or anything. That is something the researchers who do the analysis would have to do. But we have this possibility, and yeah, we simply have people in there who are offline, so that also, I mean, the typical example are people of higher, more advanced age, or of lower education who might not be that inclined to participate online. They can do it in paper. Yeah. So, as I said, I'm going to go in a bit more detail in a minute. Maybe it becomes more clear then. We use incentives. In fact, €5 prepaid incentive. And each wave of our panel study takes about 20 minutes to be completed. Of this 20 minutes, 15 are allocated to submitted studies. So 3/4 are for researchers as yourself, if you decide to feed your study with us. And 5 minutes, the remaining 5 minutes, we use for what we call core studies. And in these core studies, we collect in each wave different information which is then available over time. You see here the topics of our core studies. So of course we have socio-demographics in there. Those are basically all topics which are used very often as background and control variables. So if you do a study, you don't have to include them in your own research. Actually, we will not allow you to do so. And I mean, the advantage is, or actually that was the first advantage, you don't have to include them. And the second advantage is that you also can track development over time. So someone who is unemployed this year might be employed the next year, or so on and so forth. We have well-being in there, we have technical use of communication media, this kind of stuff. And what is not on this slide, we also have in each wave actually different variables which allow us to test and to let's stick with test, to control, that's the word I was searching for, the quality of our study. So there are, and also whether people are happy with our study. So there are questions like, did you think the questionnaire was too long? Could you understand all the questions? Was it easy to find an answer? Were you alone when you answered the questionnaire? And so on and so forth. So this is all information which is included in the data file by default. And with that, we're going to go in a little bit more detail. So I already told you that our sampling frame was the population, the general population of Germany. We went from there and did a probability-based sample from population registers. So we draw a sample of 22,000 people actually, and those individuals were contacted via mail and informed of our project, and they were asked whether they would be willing to participate in a face-to-face recruitment interview. They also were informed, and we're still in 2013 here, they also were informed that they could or would receive a €5 incentive if they participated and concluded the recruitment interview. Roughly 2 weeks after they received the letter, they were called by an interviewer and were asked whether they were willing to participate in the face-to-face interview, and 7,599 people said they would participate. So, of course, we went on from there, and we did the face-to-face interviews. At the end of the interview, people were asked whether they would be willing to participate in our panel study, and they were asked in which mode they would like to do it. So if they would like to participate online or offline. And if they agreed to participate, 6,210 of them did. They were invited to fill in a first self-administered survey. So now we are switching from face-to-face to self-administered surveys, and people who completed that were or became part of our active panel population. So those are the people who became part of the panel in 2014 in the first regular panel wave. We are at 4,888 panelists, and here I can tell you we actually overachieved because we were aiming for 4,000 individuals. So we think we did pretty good. Just very quickly, some basic information regarding the interviews. They took about 15 minutes. They were done in the homes of people, and we did this from June 2013 to December 2014. I think this is the more interesting slide regarding the timeline. But before I go into details about that, I want to explain something which is quite important if you go later on in our documents. So this is the denomination of panel waves, which are those two letters we have with each wave. And it's actually quite simple. The first one stands for the year, so A for the first year, and the second one stands for the wave. So in this case, ABC, and in the regular waves, we go from A to F. So the wave which is in the field now is actually DE, so it's the fourth year and the fifth wave. Okay, so what do you see on this slide? We have again the face-to-face recruitment. We started in June 2013. Of course, we also had to start with the online and offline self-administered survey at the same time, because once people say they want to participate, they really want to do it. But we also started already in 2013 with the first panel waves. And of course you could ask, why did we do that if our sample wasn't completed yet? And the answer is quite simple. People who were interviewed in June 2013 were told that they would participate in a bi-monthly panel, which made them expect, of course, the first survey to take place 2 months after the interview. So that's actually what we did. We started here with interviews, and you see the panel population is growing. So till the end of the welcome survey, we had this preliminary panel actually, and we started with the first regular wave in BA. So the first regular wave is actually the first wave of the second year.
The difference between the profile survey and the N in the wave BA is given by the default.
Yeah. Yes, actually those are the invited people. Yeah. So the difference is those 6,210 people were invited, but it participated only 4,888 in the profile survey, and they went directly into the panel population.
This means that the first three ways which are part of the profile survey somehow overlap between them.
Those were different questionnaires.
Okay.
So they did not fill, because otherwise those people would have filled in the same questionnaire twice, or even 3 times actually.
Okay.
So those were different questionnaires, questions from political science and so on. So basically they were already made up like the actual questionnaires. In some ways they were also a test run for us. And again, I think people did more or less like the questionnaires because they stayed in the panel.
And then the difference between wave B and wave D is given by addition?
Yes, I'm going to come to that now. Because that's a very important, correct question, and as you suggested, that's the attrition. So we have here the first wave in the second year, the first regular wave, with 4,888 people, and 2 years later, in February of this year, we still had 3,797 people in our panel, which again, I think it's not that bad. We lost actually 1,100 people roughly in those 2 years. And that's also what you see here. So basically, our cumulative attrition rate is lower than 25% in those 2 years, and we have an attrition rate of roughly 2% with each wave. And I'm sure the next question is, what is that? Why do we have this spike? And that's quite easy to answer, because in wave, I have to look, BD, we started our cleaning procedure, if you like, in the panel. And basically what we do is, if individuals do not participate in 3 consecutive waves of the panel, they are deleted from the panel population. And that's exactly what happens here. So this spike is simply bringing our sample up to date, and those people were not invited anymore to participate. And after that, we continue with 2% or less. Yeah, and again, the last wave here is the A. Actually, we now are a bit further with the publication of the data. I think we have published until DC, if I'm not totally wrong, but yeah, that was the point when I did the slides. So, but of course, we also think that this difference is not something we want to live with. And this is why we actually this year did a sample refreshment. So in the future, or already now, but it becomes more relevant in the future, we are referring to those 2 groups as cohort 1, that's the initial sample, and cohort 2, which is the refreshment sample. And we recruited those participants in the very same way we did already before. So we did face-to-face interviews. In this case, we cooperated with the Albus, with the German Journal Social Survey. And what they did basically was they asked their interviewees after participating in the Albus whether they would be willing to do the screening interview for the GESIS panel, and then whether people would like to participate. So it's, as I said, it's basically the same thing as 2013. We did about 3,500 interviews there and recruited 1,700 panelists. Of course, it takes some time to include them fully in the panel and in the regular procedure. We expect that this will be done by mid-2017. So data publication starting in July should include those panelists. And they will be, even though it says cohort 2 and the other one will be cohort 1, it doesn't mean that we have 2 different panels or something like that. So they will be fully integrated in the same sample. It is still just one questionnaire for everybody, or it's gonna be. questionnaire